For a long time, you blamed the city, the noise, the pace, the pressure. You told yourself this place did something to you, that it hardened you, that it rushed you, that it stole something you used to have. But one day, not dramatic, not cinematic, a small realization landed, and it didn't feel good. The city didn't take your life, you handed it over, not in one decision, not with intention, but piece by piece. You traded mornings for alarms, silence for notifications, curiosity for efficiency, and you did it willingly because it worked. The city don't force you to check your email at night. You did that to stay ahead. The city didn't make you skip dinners with people you love. You told yourself work was temporary. The city didn't steal your attention. You trained it to live everywhere except the present moment. That realization stings because it removes the villain. And where there's no villain, there's responsibility. You start noticing things differently. The cafes aren't cruel. They're full of people just like you, staring into cups waiting for something unnamed. The streets aren't hostile. They're indifferent. They don't care who you become. The buildings don't imprison you. They simply don't ask questions. You feel a strange grief then, not for the city, for the version of yourself who thought leaving was the only solution. Because you realize something heavier. You could move tomorrow and still carry this life with you. The restlessness, the distraction, the habit of postponing yourself. That's when it gets uncomfortable, because escape is easier than change. It's easier to dream about another city than to dismantle the routines that keep you numb. It's easier to hate the grind than to admit you've grown attached to its structure. The grind gives you excuses, deadlines, urgency, purpose without meaning, and without it, silence shows up. Silence is dangerous because silence asks questions. Who are you without the pressure? What do you want when no one is watching? What are you avoiding by staying busy? You realize then, if you ever leave this office, if you ever leave this life, it won't be because the city let you go. It'll be because you stopped using it as cover. This isn't guilt, it's clarity. And clarity doesn't demand action, not yet. It just asks honesty. You're not trapped, you're conditioned, and conditioning can be unlearned, slowly, uncomfortably, on purpose. The city didn't take your life, but it gave you endless ways to forget you had won. And tonight, maybe for the first time, you don't blame it anymore. You sit with that, let it breathe, because something has shifted, not outside, inside. You end up on a rooftop almost by accident, not one of those glamorous ones, no music, no crowd, no reason to be there, just concrete, low walls, and a city stretching out like it's holding its breath. You bring a coffee up with you. It's gone cold by the time you remember to drink it. The sun is dropping, not dramatically, just leaving. This is the kind of moment that usually slips past you, the kind you scroll through, the kind you miss because you're already thinking about tomorrow. But tonight, you don't. You lean on the edge and look out, not at landmarks, not at beauty, just at windows. Hundreds of them, thousands. Each one holds a life, a version of someone who thinks this is just how things are now. You wonder how many of them feel exactly like you do, tired but not sleepy, successful but not satisfied, moving but not going anywhere. The city hums below you, cars, sirens, a distant laugh. It doesn't care that you're up here, and that's strangely comforting. No one is watching, no one needs anything, no one expects you to be impressive. For once, you don't feel like you're performing your life. You realize something subtle, important. Nothing has changed. Your job is still waiting. Your calendar is still full. Your phone still holds 1,000 quiet obligations. But you feel a step back, like you've loosened your grip on the wheel just enough to realize how tightly you've been holding it. You're not planning an exit. You're not fantasizing about escape. You're not promising yourself a reinvention. You're just noticing, and noticing is dangerous, because once you notice, you can't unsee. You notice how often you rush moments that don't need it. You notice how rarely you ask yourself if something actually matters, or if it's just loud. You notice how your life has been built to be impressive from the outside, efficient on the paper, and exhausting from the inside. The sky turns a soft, bruised orange, then pink, then something you don't have a word for. You think about all the times you told yourself, later. Later when things calm down. Later when you're more secure. Later when you've earned it. But later never shows up. It just keeps moving the finish line. Up here, you finally admit something you've avoided. You don't need a new life. You need space inside this one. Space to breathe. Space to choose. Space to stop living on autopilot. The city keeps moving. Deadlines don't dissolve. Emails don't disappear. But for the first time, they don't feel like your identity. You finish the cold coffee. It tastes bitter, honest. And as the sun slips full away, you understand this isn't a turning point. It's a pause. And pauses are powerful because they don't demand courage, just presence. You stay on the rooftop longer than planned, not because you're avoiding anything, but because you're finally not running. Something has shifted again, quietly, and you know now, if you ever change your life, it won't be loud. It'll start like this, still, unnoticed, real. There's a strange thing about slowing down. It doesn't feel peaceful at first. It feels wrong, almost dangerous. You notice it the moment you try, the moment there's meeting to rush to. No notification buzzing, no task screaming for attention. Your body doesn't relax. It tenses. Your mind starts searching for noise like a smoker reaching for a cigarette. You tell yourself it's fine, that you're just resting, but something underneath starts to panic, because silence has a way of asking questions you've been avoiding. You sit alone longer than usual. No phone in your hand, no podcast playing, no background hum to drown things out. And suddenly, thoughts rise up uninvited. Not dramatic ones, not poetic ones, just honest ones. Is this really it? Is this what I'm running toward every day? If I stopped, would anything fall apart? These aren't thoughts you can answer quickly, and that's what makes them uncomfortable. You realize something unsettling. Burnout feels familiar, silence does not. You know how to function while exhausted. You know how to survive on caffeine and deadlines. You know how to be productive while numb. But you don't know how to sit with yourself without a purpose assigned. So your brain tries to rescue you. It whispers, "You're being lazy. You're wasting time. You should be doing something useful." The guilt creeps in fast, conditioned, automatic. Somewhere along the way, rest became suspicious, slowness became irresponsible, stillness became a threat. You think back to how often you've said, "I can't relax unless everything's done," but everything is never done. There is always one more email, one more task, one more thing that could be optimized. The system feeds on that, and you've been loyal to it. You realize you're not afraid of slowing down. You're afraid of what slowing down might reveal. Because if you stop running, you might notice you're lonely. Not alone, lonely. You might notice how disconnected you've become from your own wants. How long it's been since you chose something just because it felt right. You might notice how your life has been shaped by expectations you never consciously agreed to. That's heavy. So you stay busy. Busy is safe. Busy doesn't ask questions. Busy doesn't look you in the eye. But tonight, something is different. You don't distract yourself. You let the discomfort sit. It feels awkward, restless, almost itchy, but it doesn't kill you. And then, beneath the anxiety, something else appears, quieter, softer, a kind of relief, like your nervous system has been holding its breath for years and finally exhales. You realize you're not broken for feeling this way. You're conditioned to confuse worth with output, conditioned to believe slowing down means falling behind, conditioned to fear a life that isn't constantly proving itself. The city never taught you how to rest. It taught you how to perform. And now that performance is exhausting you. You don't make a decision tonight. You don't vow to quit anything. You don't rewrite your future. You just acknowledge the fear. And in doing that, it loses a little power. You understand something quietly revolutionary. A slower life isn't empty. It's unfamiliar. And unfamiliar things always scare us before they soften us. You sit with the silence a bit longer. It doesn't attack you. It doesn't swallow you. It just waits. And for the first time, you consider this. What if the life you're craving isn't louder, bigger, or faster, but calmer? What if peace isn't something you can earn later, but something you've been postponing? The thought doesn't resolve anything, but it plans itself. And seeds don't need permission, they just need time. You breathe, deep, unrushed. And when you finally stand up, you're still the same person, same job, same city, same obligations. But the fear has a crack in it now. And through that crack, something new is starting to grow. Change rarely arrives the way movies promise. There's no dramatic exit, no slammed doors, no applause when you finally choose yourself. Real change is quieter than that. So quiet, in fact, that no one notices it at first. It starts with things that look insignificant from the outside, but inside, they're seismic. You don't announce anything. You just stop answering emails the second they arrive. You let one notification sit unanswered, then another. Your heart races the first time you do it, like you've committed some invisible crime. Nothing happens. The world doesn't collapse. No one storms into your apartment demanding explanations. That's when you realize how much of your stress was imagined, manufactured, conditioned. You start taking your lunch away from your desk, not scrolling, not multitasking, just eating. It feels awkward at first, like you're wasting time, like someone might judge you. But no one does. They're too busy drowning in their own screens. You begin choosing stairs over elevators, walking home instead of ordering a ride, standing still at crosswalks without checking your phone. These aren't productivity hacks, they're acts of presence, tiny ways of telling your nervous system we're not being chased. And something strange happens. Your thoughts slow down, not disappear, just soften. You notice the city again, not as an obstacle, but as a place. The way the sky looks different between buildings at sunset. The sound of footsteps echoing down a side street. The smell of coffee drifting out of a corner cafe you've passed 100 times without seeing. You realize how long you've been moving through life instead of in it. Then comes the hardest part. You say no. Not dramatically, not angrily, just calmly. Not tonight. I can't take that on right now. I need more time. Your voice doesn't shake as much as you expected. Some people push back. Most doesn't. And that teaches you something uncomfortable. You are giving more than was ever required. The rebellion deepens. You stop pretending you're okay when you're not. You stop laughing at things that drain you. You stop agreeing just to keep the peace. It doesn't make you rude. It makes you honest. And honesty changes your energy. People feel it. Some drift away. They liked the version of you that overextended. The one who was always available, always agreeable, always running on empty. Let them go. They weren't connected to you. They were connected to your convenience. Others lead in. They sense something different, grounded, calm, unhurried. You don't explain yourself. You don't need to. This rebellion isn't about proving anything. It's about reclaiming ownership. You realize something quietly radical. A meaningful life doesn't announce itself. It builds itself. One boundary at a time. One breath at a time. One small choice that says, I matter too. There's no finish line here. No final transformation. Just alignment. Slow, steady, real. And for the first time in a long time, you're not sprinting toward a future you hope will save you. You're standing inside a present that finally feels like it belongs to you. The city hasn't changed. The job hasn't vanished. Life didn't magically simplify. But you are no longer disappearing inside it. That's the rebellion. Quiet, uncelebrated, unstoppable. You ever catch a glimpse of yourself in a window, mid-walk, and think, who is that? not the person you were pretending to be, not the mask you put on to get through emails, meetings, or small talk, not the exhausted commuter barely holding it together. No, this is someone new, someone quieter yet sharper, someone who has learned how to protect their energy without guilt, someone who has learned to say no and actually mean it. It's subtle at first, the way your reflection stops being a stranger, the way your voice, when you speak, finally matches the rhythm of your thoughts. You start noticing small victories. You didn't check your phone during your walk. You didn't reply immediately to that annoying group chat. You didn't volunteer for a project you didn't want. It feels radical. And then comes the feeling that changes everything: ownership of your life. For the first time, you feel that your time, your body, your attention, even your thoughts are yours, not borrowed, not rented from a system designed to exhaust you. You start experimenting, little tests, tiny rebellions, taking a different route home from work, ordering breakfast instead of skipping it, talking to strangers in the park, not about work, but about real life. And you notice something that surprises you. The city isn't a cage. The office isn't a prison. It's a stage. A stage where you get to show up as the lead character in your own story for once. The hardest part? Watching others cling to their routines. Your colleagues still running on autopilot. Friends still stuck in habits that make them miserable. Family still judging choices they don't understand, and yet you feel a strange freedom. You're no longer bound to their scripts. You start making decisions that feel dangerous in the eyes of your old self. You leave work early. You spend the Sunday doing nothing. You invest in your own hobbies, your own growth. It's terrifying and exhilarating. And here's the truth: identity isn't about starting over. It's about peeling away everything that isn't you. The expectations, the pressures, the compromises that never served you, until there's only you left. You feel it in your body. Your spine straightens, your chest expands, your hands are no longer tense. The simple act of breathing feels like a reclaiming. You've been wandering for years, searching for someone to save you, someone to notice you, someone to approve. And now, you realize that you were the person you were waiting for all along. Life becomes a little more hypnotic now, because you move with intention. Every coffee, every conversation, every evening on the rooftop, deliberate. Every choice is a reflection of your values, not of what others expect. The mirror finally reflects a person you recognize, someone who has survived the corporate grind, the endless city hum, the constant noise, someone who knows how to exist in silence, how to honor their own rhythm, how to let desire and rest coexist without guilt. And here's the magic. When you live aligned with yourself, the world reacts differently. Not necessarily gentler, not necessarily easier, but clearer. You see who belongs in your life. You see who doesn't. You stop wasting energy on noise that doesn't matter. And the most important realization hits. You are no longer living a borrowed life. You are no longer waiting for permission. validation, or acknowledgement. You are here, and that is enough. Enough to start making space for joy. Enough to finally feel your body, your thoughts, your heartbeat as your own. This is the identity that emerges from rebellion, from slowing down, from noticing, from taking control of the small moments that accumulate into a life. It's not flashy. It's not recognized by awards or likes. It's quiet. It's internal. It's electric. And it whispers to you every morning. You are allowed to exist fully, freely, fiercely. The morning light hits differently now. You wake up without an alarm, without dread, without the habitual check of messages or emails. You wake up and feel the air on your own skin, your pulse in your veins, the weight and warmth of your own body. And for a moment, you just exist. Everything else is optional. You make your coffee slowly, savoring the bitterness, the warmth, the way it grounds you in the present. You step onto your rooftop terrace and maybe just your balcony, or even the quiet corner of your apartment, and look at the city sprawled below. The honks, the hum, the unrelenting energy, they no longer pressure you. They're background music to your own rhythm. Your phone buzzes. Notification appears, maybe from work, maybe from someone else trying to reclaim you. You glance, you smile. You don't answer immediately. You sip, you breathe, and you let the world wait. Because for the first time in decades, you are in charge. The corporate grind that used to define you feels like a story from another life. You remember the fluorescent lights, the endless spreadsheets, the tiny victories that weren't yours, and you laugh quietly, almost in disbelief. I survived that. I thrived despite it, and I am free. Freedom doesn't roar, it whispers. It starts with small gestures, walking a different route home, leaving your office at sunset instead of staying until midnight, saying no without hesitation. Then it expands, taking weekends for yourself, planning trips without apologies, savoring meals instead of eating in a hurry, letting yourself feel pleasure, boredom, quiet, joy, anger, all without judgment. You remember those years trapped in fluorescent light, the endless traffic, the suffocating routines. You remember how exhausted you felt trying to be the version of yourself the world demanded. And now, you realize that version doesn't exist anymore. You exist, fully, completely, and your life finally aligns with that truth. You step out into the city streets, but this time it's different. The noise doesn't chase you. The deadlines don't define you. The people who drain energy either adapt to your rhythm or fall away. You navigate the city like a conductor leading an orchestra, aware of every note, every beat, every pause. You meet friends for coffee, not for obligation. You connect with strangers, not for networking. You help others, not because it's expected, but because it feels right. And for the first time, work is not your life. It's a tool, a means, a small part of a much larger canvas you are painting. Evenings come and you sit again on the rooftop, watching the sunset smear across the skyline. The light hits your face and you feel it. really feel it. This life is mine. Every decision, every breath, every heartbeat is yours to shape. You think about the past, not with regret, but with understanding. Every frustration, every suffocating day, every exhausting commute, they were lessons, not prisons. They taught you what you didn't want, so you could find what you do want. And now, standing there, looking over the city, you whisper to yourself, I am alive. I am free. I am enough. You don't need approval. You don't need recognition. You don't need to explain yourself. You only need to continue living deliberately, consciously, fully. This is the life you finally claim, the one you were searching for in the gray cubicles, in the endless traffic, in the corporate grind. It wasn't somewhere else. It was always inside you. And now it flows outward, touching everything you do, everything you see, everything you allow in your space. The city hums below, indifferent, yet somehow quieter now, because you are no longer trying to keep up. You are leading your own rhythm. And in that quiet mastery, there is a pulse stronger than deadlines, stronger than expectations, stronger than any traffic jam, any fluorescent light, any day that tried to chain you. It is yours, and it is infinite.